Hello everyone, this is Marryl. Welcome to my channel. Today I'd like to share with you a fun and easy way to embellish and just add that pizzazz to your craft paper folder. Now, if you're not familiar with a craft folder, it's one of the accessories that you add to your traveler's notebook. I got my craft folder from Scribe. It's one of the stationery stores here in the Philippines that sells high-end reading and writing accessories. I'm going to link their shop in the description box below so you guys can check their products. Now, here are the supplies that I used today. Some rubber stamps, cling stamps, and also some clear stamps. This one is by Tim Holtz. You will also need embossing powder. This is by Tukineko, Japan. This is white embossing powder. I also have here one of my favorites. This is by Tim Holtz. It's a gold embossing powder and it's fine. You also need your embossing ink. This one is again by Tukineko that I purchased from Scribe. You also need your anti-static tool and your heat gun or your heat tool. So let's get started. Now, before you begin stamping, you want to make sure that you've prepped your paper using your anti-static tool. Now, for this project, I decided to go with the white embossing powder by Tukineko just to add that pop of color to the embossing folder. Now, you want to make sure that you have enough embossing ink onto that rubber stamp just to make sure that the embossing powders really stick to the folder. I'm adding a piece of paper underneath my folder just to hold those excess flecks of embossing powder. Now you take your embossing powder and just sprinkle over your stamped image. So I'm just going to get those extra embossing powder back into the jar. Here I'm using a folded paper so I can easily just funnel the powder back into the container when I'm done. Tap it off and use it again. So now I'm going to stamp and add embossing powder on several designs, and then I'll heat them all at once. It saves a lot of time to do all the stamping and adding embossing powders all at once, and then add heat with your heat tool or your heat gun. Now I'm going to grab my heat tool to melt my embossing powders. You should start your heat tool a few seconds before you're ready to work. Just to make sure that it's nice and hot, and then your folder won't warp as much, especially when you're using cardstock. So I've decided to embellish both sides of the craft folder, so you'll see me stamping and adding embossing powder to the left side of the craft folder. I'm just going to speed up this part right here. So while you're stamping and adding embossing powders, you want to make sure that you remove those flecks of embossing powder here and there. Here I'm using my anti-static tool. You can also do that with a paintbrush. So there you go. Here is my embellished craft paper folder for your traveler's notebook. I really like the texture of the embossed stamp designs. It gives that bit of dimension to your folder. I hope this inspires you to create similar projects by incorporating the heat embossing technique. If you do find this video helpful, please do give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching and see you again soon.